Welcome back to the AB Scout Project. I'm Krager, and this is Alpha Bravo. He's the only Alpha Bravo, so I decided to scale my whole collection to him. Anyway, today we're starting off with Kingdom Road Rage. Now, she looks really good. Of course, she is a repaint of the Kingdom Tracks, who doesn't like to stand up, which is something I'll get into in here in a sec. But as you see, it's pretty much the same. They did give her a new head, but otherwise, everything's the same. So, and then one of the big improvements they made was here's Track's legs, and here's Road Rage's legs. Much more stable than Track's was. Now, our current winner for IDW G1 is the Masterpiece, because previously the others were just, red Tracks. So, between the two, of course, this is a Masterpiece. But you can see there was a lot of the elements of the Masterpiece put into the Kingdom, which is something I've enjoyed with a lot of the modern lines. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the vehicle mode. And here we have Road Rage in her Corvette mode, and she looks really good. Like I said, a good representation of a Corvette Stingray. I mean, everything that you need for the basics. Got that Autobot shield on top, the flaming shield, and it looks really good and has good storage for weapons. We'll go ahead and take that off for now. And I think she looks really good. I mean, not a Corvette because it's not fully licensed, but it looks really good. Now we'll bring in the Masterpiece. And we see, of course, the Masterpiece is a fully licensed, Corvette. So, of course, it's going to be better. Of course, you pay for this kind of quality. But looking at them side by side, I mean, calling a lot of these modern releases, mini masterpieces isn't a joke. It actually comes through in these kind of vehicles. I mean, you see, they both look really good. The Masterpiece is still a step above, but this is still really good. I mean, you can see some discoloration between the reds here, between the different red plastics. But otherwise, of course, this is paint. But there's some discoloration there, but it still looks really good. All right. Let's get the final thoughts. So is this our new IDW G1 Road Rage? Now, as far as IDW is concerned, she was still supposed to be Nautica's bodyguard. We'll put Nautica in here. And we see, the Masterpiece is a much better depiction of someone who'll be a bodyguard of her. So, as far as IDW, and this is also the IDW 2019, she never appeared in the IDW 2005. So as far as IDW 2019 continuity, the Masterpiece is still the winner. Now as far as G1, of course she never appeared in any cartoon, but to fit along with the other scales, I think that she works really well for G1. So, Kingdom for G1, the Masterpiece for the IDW 2019 continuity. So, let's go on to the next one. Finally for today is the Legacy Voyager Bulkhead. Now this guy looks really good. I think he is much more successful than the Legacy RC, which was a G1ification of the Prime RC. This, of course, is a G1ification of the Prime Bulkhead, but I think it looks a lot better. The head sculpt actually kind of reminds me of animated more than it does Prime. But otherwise, it's a good cross between the two, and I just think the way they reproportioned him to make him look more like a regular proportions, I think actually worked out really well. He comes with his gun that, of course, can merge with the other Legacy guns. He comes with his wrecking ball, which is pretty cool because it just kind of comes apart like clamshell and comes off. So that's pretty neat. And of course, 5mm pegs everywhere. So you can put all kinds of blast effects and other weapons around. So you can have him, give him a hand of weapons. So that's pretty neat. And he also comes with the shield that mounts on the back. So you can pop that off and have a pretty cool riot shield that, it can fold that way. It can fold this way. But otherwise, pretty cool. It can either mount with this peg, or this peg can swing out and you can mount it that way. Either way, pretty cool. And you can also mount it in this arm peg, or you can put it in a shoulder peg. So that's an interesting feature. So you can actually have it up here, have it protecting. Overall, pretty nifty. Now, let's look at our other bulkheads. Bring in the animated version, which is more of our record trainee for 2005. And as you can see, what I'm talking about, where he's much more proportional, and I think it actually comes out looking a lot better. This, of course, is definitely that animated cartoon aesthetic. So, not too bad. Now let's look at the Prime Robots in Disguise. I don't own the first edition, so the first edition is definitely the definitive Prime bulkhead. But with the Robots in Disguise, the closest, and also the same height. And you see these two actually look pretty good together, I think. I think the Legacy kind of pulls it off a little bit better. So that's how they stack up. Let's go ahead and take a look at the vehicle mode. And here we have Legacy Bulkhead in his personnel carrier mode, and it looks really good. I mean, something that would have equipment, people in it, pretty good. My only complaint really is that open back where you can see everything, but otherwise, he looks really well. My only real complaint about it is they have these kibble tires up here. They just tuck away behind his head in robot mode. They serve no purpose except just where you can see the side of them, which, I mean, his shoulders are down here, so those aren't even, faux parts. But these faux tires are just hanging out there, just filling space. So I don't know if they shaped them that way just to clear, so they fold up here, and they couldn't figure out how to bridge this gap here, but I don't like it. I mean, this doesn't bother me as much as the tires on the side. But other than that, he looks really good, really like a good modern personnel carrier. All right, let's take a look at him next to the animated. The animated is definitely more of an armored personnel carrier. I mean, something that you would, drive through a war zone or a riot and to get your people there safely. This is more of, we don't expect any attacks and we got to move a lot of stuff quickly type of truck. But otherwise, they both look really good together. All right, something I didn't mention about the vehicle mode is that you can actually store all of his weapons back here. And that's pretty neat. And then, of course, you put the cape back on. The instructions tell you you don't have to take the shield off to transform him. I do anyway, just for convenience. That's pretty neat. Let's bring in the Robots in Disguise, and mine's missing some pieces. But that's neither here nor there. But side by side, you can see this is more personnel carrier. This is more just an off-road vehicle. I actually like the thought of Bulkhead as a personnel carrier better. So, as far as vehicle mode, I actually prefer Legacy Bulkhead's vehicle mode. So, let's go on to final thoughts. So is the Legacy Bulkhead our new IDW G1? Now, of course, for the Wreckers trainees from Requiem of the Wreckers, the animated is still the look that it came up with. So that one is still our Wreckers trainee. But for the earlier bulkheads, where it's just a more G1ified, we never actually got a full shot of him, so we don't know if he had the chest doors and things like that. So we're not completely sure. So I think that he would actually work as a early IDW 2005. Of course, he wasn't in G1, he was in Prime. The first edition is still the best Prime. But if you don't have the first edition, if you don't have the Robots in Disguise, this guy definitely works for early IDW and as a G1 bulkhead. I really enjoy him. The proportions are great. He looks like the big strong man. I like him. So that's all for today. So thanks for joining us today on the AV Scout Project. If there's a character you'd like to see, put your request in the comments below. Although there aren't too many left. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and I'll see y'all later.